Hi, boys and girls. Welcome again to George and Willy's World. I'm so glad you could join us today. I'm Mrs. Krantz, and this is my dog, George. And Mrs. Mapes and Willy aren't here today. Mrs. Mapes' father had to have surgery, and so she is down helping her mom, and I'm sure Willy is helping everybody feel much calmer and feel better. But she'll be back on our next show. George isn't going to school or to the library anymore, so we've been thinking of things to keep her busy this summer. And she just started something called agility. Agility is a little bit like gymnastics, boys and girls. So she does all kinds of activities that are great exercise. She goes through a tunnel, she walks on a balance beam and on a seesaw and over jumps. And you know, the first time George went to class, she was nervous. It was something new. And the teacher was very calm and very patient. And by the end of the class, George thought that agility is fun, and she was able to go on all the equipment and enjoy it. And I think that's important, no matter what sport you're doing, is that you should enjoy it and have lots of fun. It doesn't matter if you're not the best one at your sport, as long as you're enjoying it. Today, we have a very special guest, Miss Shira. She works at School Readiness, and she does all the crafts that we do on George and Willy's World. And she also has had an art school for children. So we are really happy to have you as our guest today.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Krantz. I'm happy to be here.
So you are a VISTA volunteer. What does that mean?
Well, VISTA, it stands, the letters of the word VISTA stand for Volunteers in Service to America. And it is an organization where people, any people who are interested in doing service can join in, and there's all kinds of jobs all over the country where you can help out different communities and different nonprofit kind of ventures, which means there's lots of businesses that help communities, and those businesses don't get a lot of money, unfortunately, and so they need people to help them. So VISTA actually provides those people for businesses that need extra help. I am one of those people, and I am working with School Readiness, which is one of the people that works with this show. And usually I'm behind the camera and doing the crafts, and today, for the first time, I get to be here and see how it feels to be on this side.
Right. Feels a little different.
Very different.
Yes.
Yes.
And how long a commitment is a VISTA volunteer?
It depends. Normally, it's for a year. However, you can sign up for another year if you're enjoying it, and sometimes for a third year. I'm actually just signed up for my third year, and I'm training in a specific thing so that I can teach some things to the community that they need to know. So I'm just about to go off to learn that tomorrow, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, that sounds great. And you've also had art schools for children.
Yes, I used to own an art school called the Creation Station, and it was an art school where we made all kinds of different crafts, recycled crafts. We would get people to donate different materials that we would make all kinds of art from, painting, drawing, and I usually tried to teach with it as well. So I would take a theme, say a country, Africa, and would teach art from that country and teach about the country so that the kids would learn a little bit and also learn a new skill in art. It was a lot of fun, and I worked with kids ranging from 2 years old up to about junior high school age.
And that was my next question, because most of, I think, our audience are preschoolers. What can our parents do to encourage their children to try art or for art activities?
That's a really good question. It's really simple. Art is something that people just have inside them. Everybody does. Some people get afraid to show that, or they think they can't do it well enough, or they can't draw as well as the person who sits next to them, and so they feel like they shouldn't be drawing at all. Well, that's just not true. If you look at artists all over, you look in the museums, you'll see that there are all different styles of art. So even things that some people might say, oh, I don't like that. Some other people say, oh, that's my favorite picture I ever saw, ever.
Right.
So, of course, everybody has different tastes. Just like some people like peanut butter sandwiches, some people hate peanut butter sandwiches. So if you want to become an artist, or at least just be able to draw and paint as a parent, you just provide really simple materials. You have glue sticks, maybe some sequins, something glittery, lots of crayons, paints, pencil and paper. Even coloring books are good. You can work on seeing how things look and how you can change them by putting different colors inside the lines of a coloring book. It's really good to also use your own creativity and make your own pictures. Sometimes what I would do with the little kids that I had were I would tell them to draw me a picture, and they would say, I don't know what to draw. So I would just make something up. Oh, draw me a monkey on top of a truck that's driving through the jungle. And so that would come. And as that's happening, and they're learning how to do different types of lines and different types of designs, you can encourage that. If you see that something needs a little bit of help, or they're really wanting to learn how to draw a monkey's face, you might make a little simple drawing and let them copy it. There's always lots of easy crafts that you can do too, with tape and paper and everything.
So I think it's really important to encourage your children and to make them feel whatever they do is valuable and beautiful. Maybe hang it up so that they can see it and then kind of feel proud of what they did.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because I think that a lot of people that are dealing with children who are first drawing, they try to make the children draw what they think it's supposed to look like. But children have their own idea of things, and that's how they develop their own style to make all those different styles of paintings that are in the different museums. I mean, everybody doesn't want to be the same, or nobody would want to look at stuff if everything you saw looked the same.
Right.
So it's really nice to just encourage them to express themselves as they want to, allow them a little bit of creativity. If they want to make a green sky or a blue grass, that's okay.
Right.
And, that'll come.
Yes, and I think it's also really nice if you save some of the artwork, because I know one of the things, my children are all adults now, and I have artwork from when the first little scriggles. I tried to save a few of all of their pictures, and they get such a kick out of looking at them and also showing their friends.
And they're also going to get a kick out of when they're older and they have their own kids, because my mother saved a lot of my artwork. And I've shown things that I made when I was a child to my daughter, and she just thinks that's very funny.
Right. Oh, that's nice.
But she likes it. And
Right.
it's a lot of fun, It's just to talk about your family, talk about what you do. It's great.
Good. That sounds wonderful. And I understand you have 2 exciting books to read us today.
I do. I have 2 books about adventures. And the first book is it's about sled dogs running through the snow. It's called Dog Team, and it's by Gary Paulson and illustrated by Ruth Wright Paulson. Sometimes we run at night. In the full moon, when it is blue and white on the snow at the same time, so bright and clean and open you could read in the dark, we harness the dogs and run at night. Some small songs of excitement when the harnesses are put on, because they want to run, breathe to run, eat to run, live to run. But silent, straining to run, to go, to join the snow and the moon and the night, pulling against the tugs and the gangling tied to the sled, heaving until finally the hook is freed from the snow and they are gone. The dance, through the trees, in and out, the sled whipping after them through the trees, with no sound but the song of the runners, the high, soft shh whine of the runners, and the soft jingle of their collars. Into the night, away from camp, away from people, away from houses and light and noise, and into only the one thing, into only winter night. They fly away and away and away. A lake, frozen and flat and white in the moonlight, we slip out of the woods onto the ice, and time for one breath, two, and across the ice gone. Creaking and moaning beneath us, and into the trees again, left, right, and we are not alone. Wolves. They come alongside in the moonlight. Moon wolves, snow wolves, night wolves. They run with us. Pace the dogs. Pace our hearts and our lives. And then turn away in the blue dark. And so we run. Part of the night and dark and cold. And moonlight and steam from our breath. Into the soft beauty of the woods and the quiet. We run mile on mile until we see lights. We see lights and find that we have circled in the night, circled in the snow and the winter and our lives and all the world, and have come home. There, gleaming yellow kitchen light, warm in the cold, deep cold. Cold, so ice breath freezes on eyelids, freezes eyes shut. Cold, so the light from the moon is frozen on the snow. Cold, so all the dogs are coated with ice, and the snaps on their collars and harnesses won't open, and their laughing, panting breath freezes on their cheeks and makes them all smiles, dog laughs. There, home, and we stop, close now. So close, we see people in the cabin, see faces at the window. The dogs look back. Why are they still in harness? Why are they standing? The dance is over, is it not? Is not the dog dance in the dog moon and dog cold and dog night over? Did you, they sing, little jets of steam from their mouths? Did you want it to last forever? The end.
What a wonderful story.
That must be really exciting to be in the snow at night with the full moon and seeing the wolves. I think that would be kind of scary, but really exciting.
I've always wanted to have a sled dog ride. I have to still try it.
Where I used to have my art school was up in a place called Mammoth, and very high up in the mountains, and they have sled dogs, and I have a friend who raises them. It's quite amazing. They're very beautiful, strong, and smart dogs.
Yeah. What's our next story?
Our next story is called Where the Wild Things Are, and this is one of my favorite books ever. The story and pictures are done by Maurice Sendak. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another, his mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew and grew and grew until his ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day. and in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with the magic trick of staring into all of their yellow eyes without blinking once. And they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all, and made him king of all the wild things. "And now," cried Max, "let the wild rumpus start." They're rumpusing. "Now stop," Max said, and he sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all the wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then all around from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat, so he gave up being king of where the wild things are. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up, we love you so." And Max said, "No." The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye and sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day. And into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still hot.
That's great.
That's a great story.
Yes.
I love this book.
Yes. I used to read it to my children so many times that I pretty much know it by heart, but I
Yes.
still just enjoy having somebody read it.
I agree. I love this book, and I've been reading it for a long time, and to my children, and I read it when I was young, and it's a great book, great writer.
Yes, he is. So I understand you're going to teach us some ways that we can save energy.
Well, there's lots of ways to do that, easy ways, but things like making sure that you turn off your lights when you walk out of the room, and when you turn on the water to brush your teeth, not to just leave it running, but turn it off until you need to rinse out your mouth. There's a lot of different ways to do that, and there's lots of ways that you can look that up and on the computer with your parents and books that you can read about it. I do mostly, right now, I think we're going to talk more about adventures.
Oh, good.
I wanted to do some crafts and show some ideas about adventures, and maybe if I come up with some good energy-saving ideas, I can throw those in as we go along.
Sounds terrific.
Okay.
Good.
So, one of the first things that we're going to do, excuse me, is make a bug house. It's pretty adventurous to see what other animals do and to be able to watch them close up. It's especially bugs and insects because they're small enough that you can find them on the ground, you can pick them up, you can put them into a container and watch them for a while, and then just let them go and let them go on their way after you're finished. So I've started this a little bit to make it easier, but what this is, you can take any kind of a container, a yogurt container. This happens to be a cream cheese container. Anything that has a lid that snaps on and off. And then you take a scissor. I would first probably take the top off. Take a scissor, and you want to cut a little window. I started the window earlier, but I'll cut it out.
So the boys and girls should probably have their parents help them do that, right?
Oh, of course. You don't want to be using scissors by yourself. And this kind of scissor work, which is with plastic, is particularly hard, so you're going to need an adult to help you. So you can cut out a couple of windows. You can see right through. But of course, if you left it like this, the bugs would just crawl right out, wouldn't they? So what I've done is I have big strapping tape, which is the kind of tape that you use to put packages into the mail and get them all wrapped up. And I'm going to take a piece and put one piece on the inside to make like a little window. I make windows on both sides. And it might be nice too, especially because, see, if you put the tape on the inside, then the sticky part is out here. So you want to put another piece of tape on the front so that there's nothing sticky. The bugs won't stick to it and your fingers won't stick to it. And you can keep it so that you can see the bugs and what they're doing inside of their little bug house. So now we have a window that you can see right through. And you do that on both sides. And I've decorated it with a little bug. I thought just to make sure they feel at home, make sure this is where they belong. I have one there and one there. So I will take my bug house and go outside, and then I will take a little shovel and put some dirt and a few little nice leaves and twigs, find my bugs. You can use a little screen if you need to, or you can just use a shovel, pick them up, and put them in along with some dirt and leaves. Then take your top and put holes in it so that air gets in, because the bugs need to have oxygen too, and especially if you forget to let them out right away. You want to make sure that they don't run out of air. So I've covered the top with paper and drawn a little picture on it of flowers and bugs, again, just in keeping with my bug theme. And then you just put the top on, and you can put it up on your shelf next to your bed, and you can look at the bugs. You can use a magnifying glass and see a whole world of adventure that you never even knew was going on all around you all the time. It's very exciting. So that's one thing that we can do. Another adventure idea is that we can have a treasure hunt by making a treasure map and hiding a treasure and trying to make a map so that somebody else can find a treasure. So I've done that. I made a map working with the studio here, and I'm going to show it to Mrs. Krantz and see if she can find the treasure that I've hidden with the map. Now, here's a picture of the map. And this is here, the table, and you see the rocking chair and the bookshelf. And with treasure maps, you usually will look at the picture, and I've made a little X. This is where I'm going to start, or where Mrs. Krantz is going to start. If she is to do it, I say, she's standing here. I say, okay, here's your map. I'm going to give this to her.
Okay.
Oh, you don't have the mic.
That's all right.
So where do you think that the treasure is
sorry.
hidden?
Oh, it can be any place. So I start here,
Right.
and this is the table, and then I go over to the rocking chair.
That's right.
Oh, I hope George hasn't eaten the treasure. And there's the bookcase, and is this it, the ball?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
So you found
I
it.
found
That's
it.
great.
I
And
followed the treasure map.
That's right.
Oh,
And
that's
it's really
fun.
and it's art because you can draw a picture of your bedroom or your living room. You can practice making all kinds of things, and you could maybe make a really pretty little craft for your mom or dad and make that be the treasure for them to find. I bet they'd really like that. So
That would be a great thing for Father's Day.
it would be.
You could-
It would be. You could make a Father's Day card and then give him this and then hide it somewhere. That would be really great.
That would be fun. Oh, that's
Yes.
great. And I love the little bug house. I'm going to make one for myself. That's
Well,
such
I
a
love
great
watching
idea.
bugs.
Yes.
They're really interesting
it's
little
simple,
creatures.
and it's a really nice container. So thank you, Ms. Shira. Those are such great things, and it's been so much fun talking to you. I've really enjoyed it. If you're looking for more activities to do with your children, you can check on the community calendar at Nevada County TV. We'd still love to get some letters. If you'd like to write George and Willy, please write them at George and Willy's World, 235 South Auburn Street in Grass Valley, or you can even email georgeandwilly@yahoo.com. We have DVDs of our past shows available at the Grass Valley Library, the Madeline Helling Library, and the Sierra Nevada Children's Center. And you can take them out for free and borrow them and watch the shows you might have missed, or just some of the shows you might want to see again. So thank you, Ms. Shira. You were great.
Welcome.
It was so much fun talking with you. And remember to listen to lots of stories, do your jobs, and have fun playing. And we'll see you next time in George and Willy's World. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.